Because stuff's happening to all of us. And we're going to see it in Moses' life. And we're going to be reminded through his word of what needs to take place in each of our lives. And what that really is growing closer to our God. I've just been thinking about this for a number of weeks. And when I'm focused on the I, you get it? Not the I, the I. Sometimes I say it, me, myself, and I. But when I'm focused on the I, things can become bitter. B-I, capital I, T-T-E-R. When I'm focused on the he, I'm going to say it different. The thee. Not because we need to speak in that type of language. I'm trying to say that for both reasons. That not only is he our Father, the he, our relationship, he is the holy God who's absolutely in control. And he's going to show not only Pharaoh, not only all the Egyptians, but he's going to show his people that he's about to rescue and redeem, that he is calling the shots, not Pharaoh. Instead of saying, focus on I that leads to bitter, I'm not trying to ignore, I'm not trying to downplay pain, suffering, confusion, hardship. It's very real. But as long as I begin to focus my attention on that, on I'm not focused on he. I don't have that reverential respect. I say I do, but the challenge is I'm focused on me, myself, and I, here and now, instead of he, the eternity. He, the eternity. And folks, I'm sharing this with all of us as I share it with me. I struggle in all those same areas that you do. And I know it's not Father's Day or Mother's Day, but I want to say to you, I struggle applying this at times in my life. Do you get what I mean? I need to be challenged. I need people, men and women, coming around and encouraging and praying and sharing and even holding me accountable and loving on me and doing life together. That's what the body is. And you say, Mark, you're preaching to the choir. We're here. You are. And as Luke challenged you, I dare you, come tonight. The weather's not changing. It's going to be a glorious time of worship and fellowship, a time in the Word, delicious food and connecting us together. You don't want to miss our backyard gatherings. There's other opportunities that have been mentioned, other opportunities in the bulletin to get together. I think August 19th, we're trying to organize a baseball game. If people, no, we're not going to go play out there. That would be humorous. So we could do that. Youth group, parents, and anybody who wants to, we're invited to go to a Red Wings game right after the service. There's a sign-up pillar. There's a sign-up sheet on the pillar inside. You have to go inside to do it, or just reach out to the office and say, yeah, I'd like to go. And again, it's fellowship, connecting with each other. There's opportunities over and over and over. And we need this. If I'm focused on I know that's not proper English. It would be me, but it doesn't fit the analogy. I become bitter. B-I-T-T-E-R. If I focus on he, the eternity, the I is changed to an E. And I become better. Closer to God, seeing him work, experiencing things that I wouldn't have seen the other way. And he transforms me, he convicts me, he comforts me, he encourages me, he challenges me, and growth takes place. Open your Bibles with me, if you would, to Exodus. Exodus chapter 4. If you remember where we left off last week, Moses has just finally agreed to go. He's come and given his 2-week notice to his father-in-law Jethro. He's heading back to Egypt. He's leaving Midian, the wilderness there. And verse 20 says, so Moses took his wife, his sons, mounted them on a donkey, and returned to the land of Egypt. Moses also took the staff of God in his hand. It's no longer just a staff. God said to him, what's in your hand? He says, a staff. Throw it down, it's a snake. Pick it up, it's back to the staff. It's in Moses' hand. Put it in your bosom, leprosy. Put it back in, healing. Take your hand and grab some water from the Nile, pour it on the ground, blood. God is showing to Moses, it's not you, it's me. You simply surrender, get to know me better. That's how he's revealing himself to Moses. Love me more and trust me and obey. And so he says, now it's not just the staff, it's the staff of God. It's in his hand. Verse 21, the Lord said to Moses, when you go back to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders which I, God, have put in your hand. That's the literal word. My translation, New American Standard, says, I put it in your power. And that's appropriate. But the literal term is God has put that in his hand. The staff is not to be worshipped. The staff is not a relic. It's not something that they're going to honor. It's not a part of a ritual. The staff reminds him that this is God doing this in me, through me, and for me, and sometimes in spite of me. Folks, we need reminders like that. And many times we need them, and the only way we'll see them is like Peter wrote in that first chapter, through the trials, the afflictions, the momentary ones. And if you remember that first chapter, he's comparing momentary trials. And you say, Mark, it's been years. And it has. But in comparison to eternity, it's a drop in the bucket. And that's what he's trying to say to encourage those believers. They go on to take him. God takes that sin seriously. Moses needs to have his sons circumcised. It's done for him at first, but God, as God calls us to a closer walk, there's going to be a thinning of the ranks because there's a higher level of commitment. Moses needs to take sin seriously and to change just like we do. We examine and we look. If there's stuff going on in my life, when we face trials and tribulations and hardship, the first place we should look is to say, is there sin in my life? Am I being disobedient? Is there defiance? Is there, I don't want to. It's not I can't, I don't want. If that's happening, confess that. Do you understand that? That's the beauty of the Spirit working to convict us. Turn from it. And as we turn from sin, we're turning to God. Run to God. That's what he wants in the life of his children. That's what every parent wants for their kids, is to turn from evil and sin and stuff that will hurt them, and to run back into the arms of their loving mom and dad, the Father. So if it's there, confess it. But folks, it doesn't mean it's always there. Do you understand? Sometimes God's just pruning our lives. He's just turning up the heat to melt the dross, so that our faith gets refined and focused back on him. As he prunes us, we bear more fruit. But it hurts. I don't like it. But it's God's way. And when we look back, we all admit, boy, did I grow through that so much. Boy, did I need that. And so as we're looking, he has to take the sin. Don't play with sin. Confess. If there's challenges in your life, get along a brother or sister that's walking with the Lord that you can become accountable to and find. And just don't excuse it, rationalize it, harbor it. It will ruin our lives spiritually and physically and emotionally and mentally and relationally. Sin wrecks. Look with me at verse 27 of that chapter, verse 4. Now the Lord said to Aaron, go to meet Moses in the wilderness. So he went and met him at the mountain of God and kissed him. And I love that, not because he kissed his brother. They were close. I mean, it was a sign. It was a way to kiss him. I think that's what it was. My point is, he had missed his brother. He hadn't seen him for 40 years. God stirs his heart, moves him out. But you know what I really love about it? It says, so he went out and met him at the mountain of God. You know, the first time this was mentioned, it was called Horeb. And it was in the wilderness. It is in the wilderness of Midian, where Moses is taking care of the sheep for his father-in-law. And God's preparing him. And that's where God meets with him in the burning bush. That's happening at Mount Horeb. Now it's called the mountain of God. As we move on in the story, it's going to be called Mount Sinai. He's going to meet with God and receive God's will for them, the law, the direction, the guidance after God is... It's just exciting to see. It wasn't just a staff. Now it's called the staff of God. It wasn't just some old mountain in the wilderness. Now it's the mountain of God. This is where God is doing business, not only in Moses' life, but he's going to do business in the lives of his people. It's Mount Sinai. So he meets Aaron, verse 28. Aaron and Moses told Aaron, and I've circled this, all the words of the Lord, which he had sent him, and all the signs that he had commanded him to do. Then Moses and Aaron went and assembled all the elders of the sons of Israel. There is some form of leadership amongst the Hebrew people. It's grown to probably 2.5 million people by now over the 430 years. And there's some type of leadership and structure. So some kind of communication has been going on. He assembles all the leaders, all the elders of the sons of Israel. In verse 30, Aaron spoke all the words which the Lord had spoken to Moses. He then performed the signs in the people, and the people believed. The people trusted. The people depended. They had faith. They believed that what God has done. That was one of Moses' excuses. What if they don't believe me? God says, do these signs, tell them my words, and they will, and they do. The people believe, but you see, faith is the foundation for everything. Our trust in God, our belief in God. When we're going through difficult times or exciting times, when we're going through life, day by day, step by step, moment by moment, faith, trust, depending on God, even if I don't understand it, found on the facts, the truth of His Word. That's what takes us through. It's trusting Him. How do we trust Him more? We get to know Him better. What happens when we get to know Him better through the study of His Word? We love Him more. What happens as we love Him more? We trust Him more. Our faith grows. And what follows naturally? Obedience. I want to want what you want. It says that they believed. And when they heard that the Lord was concerned about the sons of Israel, that He had seen their affliction, was concerned, the literal word is He had visited them. He was there in their midst. He was with them, just like He told Moses. And not only was He with them, He was actively acquainted, involved in all of their ways. He was concerned. He cared about it. Important for us to know that it's not random, whatever you're facing. God cares. Please hear that, my friend. He's with us. He doesn't leave us. He doesn't forsake us. But He cares. He's concerned. He's involved. That He was concerned about the sons of Israel. He's seen their affliction, what they were experiencing. Then they bowed low. They humbled themselves. How often do we do that? Be real. Humble ourselves. Admit desperately, I need you. I can't do this. It's all about you. How often do we lower ourselves before God and admit I can't, but you can. The beauty of that is that exalts him. When we humble ourselves before him and express our need, our dependence, I need you, he gets glory. They bowed low and worshiped. Now look with me at what's going to transpire. Chapter 5, verse 1. Afterwards, Moses and Aaron came and said to Pharaoh, "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, let my people go, that they may celebrate a feast to me in the wilderness." But Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice to let Israel go?" Who is the Lord? It's interesting because according to the text, Pharaoh uses the word Yahweh. He used L-O-R-D in caps. Who is this God that you're talking about, that I should obey him? What do you hear in Pharaoh's voice? I don't know him. I don't need him. He's not in charge. I am. I'm in charge. I'm in control. I call the shots. God's going to reveal himself not only to Moses and the people of Israel, he's going to reveal himself to the Egyptians and specifically to Pharaoh. He's going to show Pharaoh that Pharaoh is not ultimately in control. Yes, he's the king, the master of the whole area. He is the highest ranking person. He's always called the shots. But he's not God. He says, "I do not know the Lord, and besides, I will not let Israel go." Verse 3. Then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Please let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we can sacrifice to the Lord our God. Otherwise, he will fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword." And so in some ways, Moses and Aaron are saying, if you don't let us go, God's result might be pestilence. It might be problems. It might be sickness for us. We might die, and you will lose your labor force. Do you understand? That's what he's saying to him. You've enjoyed it for years. You will lose. But the king of Egypt, verse 4, said to them, "Moses and Aaron, why do you draw the people away from their work? Get back to your labors." Again, Pharaoh said, "Look, the people of the land are now many, and you would have them cease from their labors." You know, this is not the same Pharaoh that we were introduced to in chapter 1, who said, "Look, the people are many now. We got to be careful. We got to start afflicting and making it harder. We got to do some type of way to not let them reproduce, because what if we get invaded? They'll join that was that Pharaoh's concern. The people are growing. You see, he could not see it from God's perspective. God was using Egypt. He was using the first Pharaoh, this Pharaoh, to accomplish his purpose. And that was to raise up the seed that he had promised to Abraham. 70 people come. Over 2 million are going to leave in just over 400 years. This Pharaoh, 80 years later, says, don't look around, see all this people. And he's not so much worried about them overtaking them. He's not trying to cut them down. He just doesn't want to lose his labor force. He doesn't want to stop production. And so what does he say to him? Verse 6, "So the same day Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters over the people and their foremen, saying, 'You are no longer to give people straw to make brick as previously. Let them go and gather straw for themselves.'" Now, it doesn't sound like a big thing. How many of you made any cob, bricks, adobe lately? Any of you? Yeah, I never have. I've watched some of it on some of those YouTube channels and places where they take the mud and take the shoes off and throw all the straw and stuff in and make it a binder, and they put it on the hay bales, the straw bales, and they make a cob house. I grew up in an area where there was a lot of old abandoned adobe houses. that were bricks made out of the mud, and they always had some type of binder in it. You understand? And it lasted for a long time. That's what was happening here. But there's something that's wild about it. We read it and it just goes over our mind. Let me just continue to read, and I think you'll see the implication. Don't give them any straw to make the brick. Let them go get their own for themselves. Verse 8, but the quota of bricks which they're making previously, you'll impose on them. You're not to reduce any of it. Okay, now they can't just go to the storehouses of the straw that has been harvested, probably grown and harvested by the Hebrew people, but put in storehouses so that as they need it, whether it's for the animals and stuff like that, it's a simple resource available to them. They just go get what they need. They can keep making their bricks. Here's their quota. This is what they've got to meet. Now they got to go get their own straw, but it's going to get worse. Let me just point it out in case I forget it. Turn to verse 12. So the people scattered throughout all the land of Egypt, and look at what it says, to gather straw. No, to gather stubble for straw. They don't have access to the mature straw that is grown. It's all in their storehouses. They got to go get the leftovers. They got to go glean in the fields and pick up the scraps. It's different if they could just go harvest their own. They're grabbing the pieces and the spots and the stubble, the leftovers. But their quota hasn't changed. You ever feel like that in life? You're just trying to do what's right. You're trying to make the good choice. You're trying to be obedient to God. You're trying to walk in a way that pleases Him, and sometimes it feels like the house is falling in. Things don't work out. They don't get better. They're getting worse. They're getting harder. That's what these people are experiencing. And I want us to understand, if our focus turns inward, and usually it does for all of us at some point, be real. This isn't fair. I don't like that. It's not right. I'm just trying to obey. And it's getting harder. It's not working. If it stays focused on I, it will lead to becoming bitter. If through that, through humbling before God and getting to know Him better so I trust Him and love Him more, and I'm basing it on the facts, not my feelings, there will be growth and I will become better, closer and closer to Jesus. He'll use that tough stuff to knock off my rough edges. And guess what? I got a bunch of them. And so do you. And it's hurtful, it's painful. But the beauty is God is not wasting it. He's honing us. It's refining us. It's changing and transforming us. We're growing in ways we couldn't grow any other way. How do I know it? Because God is in control. And He's going to show Moses. He's going to show the people of God. He's going to show Pharaoh. And He's going to show all the Egyptians that it's His powerful hand, not Pharaoh's, that is pulling the strings, that's calling the shots. You got to go make it. Same stuff, same quota. Get your own brick. Verse 9 of 5. Let the labor be heavier on the men and let them work. Look at what Pharaoh's saying. Let them work harder. Let's make it more toilsome. Let's make it more difficult so that they will pay no attention to false words. They have no business focusing on leaving for 3 days and worshiping God. Get them busy. Make it hard. Make it difficult. Change their focus. That happens in our lives. We get so busy, so caught up, so challenged with all the stuff going on that sometimes our focus gets knocked off. Pharaoh's trying to say, get their eyes off, make them work so hard. The taskmasters in verse 10 of the people and their foremen went out, spoke to the people. This is what Pharaoh says, I'm not going to give you any straw. Just go and Make the bricks yourselves wherever you can. Find it, like I said, wherever you can. None of your labor will be reduced. You go try to scrounge for it, scavenge it. You go find your own stuff. But hey, the quote is still the same. 13, the taskmasters pressed them, saying, complete your work quota, your daily amount, just as when you had straw. Can we ever relate to that? You ever face that at work? You ever face that in situations? Our first response, maybe it's not yours. Maybe it's just pastor's first response is, that ain't right. It's not fair. You can't do that. I don't like that. Moreover, the foreman, verse 14, of the sons of Israel, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them. There's 3 layers of leadership here. There's really 4. There's Pharaoh, his taskmasters. His taskmasters have foremen, and now we find that those foremen have foremen among the sons of Israel. There's leaders in the workforce that are Israelites. And so it says, they said to the sons of Israel, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, it says they were beaten and were asked, why have you not completed your required amount either yesterday or today, making the bricks as previously? You hear what's happening? It's not just, you get no straw, go find it yourself. There is none, because all the stuff we were giving you is in our storehouses. You scavenge, you scrounge, find a little bit of stubble, and don't you dare cut the production. And now they bring the leaders, and they beat them. Life can do that to us from time to time, friends. Harder and harder. Verse 15, the foreman of the sons of Israel came and cried to Pharaoh, saying, why are you dealing this with us? Verse 16, there's no straw given to your servants. Yet you keep saying, make the bricks. Behold, your servants are being beaten. But it's all the fault of your own people. Your leaders took the straw away, and now they're beaten. It's rational. It is reasonable. Pharaoh doesn't want to know anything about it. Pharaoh doesn't care. Verse 17, he said, you are lazy, very lazy. In the text, it's repeated, you are lazy, lazy, lazy. Sometimes people say that about us. You are lazy, therefore you say, let's go sacrifice to the Lord. And all of a sudden, something clicks in the leaders' minds. So go now and work, for you'll be given no straw, yet you must deliver the quota of bricks. The foreman of the sons of Israel saw, I love this, that they were in trouble. There's no way out. They're not going to make it. It's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. God wants them to see that, as we see the end from the beginning and the middle, so they'll want to go. They had become, it had been pretty hunky-dory in Egypt for hundreds of years. We don't usually like to hear that God might use difficult times to make me want what he wants. But it's not just that. Not only are they admitting that they're in trouble, they had to do it. Verse 20 says, when they left Pharaoh's presence, they met Moses and Aaron as they were waiting for them. Even without reading, I think you know where this is going. They just heard that the reason this is all happening is because Pharaoh had been told to let him go for 3 days and worship. They're connecting the dots. They saw the signs of Moses and Aaron. They believed that God was with them, that he was concerned. They bowed themselves and worshiped him. But now real life happens. Real life is not always here on Sunday morning. It's later this afternoon, tonight. It's at work tomorrow. It's with our friends. It's with people who don't. It's being teased. It's being pressured. It's life. They come across Moses. In verse 21, they said to him, may the Lord look upon you and judge you, Moses and Aaron. You've made us odious. We stink in Pharaoh's sight. I know those don't go odious. I think it means stink. I didn't even look that up. Does it? 21, let's see. Yeah, to stink. But it says in his eyes. You get my point. Shit was in his nose. Never mind. But you see, they said he's made us, you should be judged because you've made us odious. We stink in Pharaoh's sight, in his presence, in the sight of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to kill us. I want you to understand, this is the first thing of a complaining and griping that is not going to end. If you've read the book of Exodus, it's going to happen over and over and over with the people of God. But I love what Moses did. Then Moses returned to the Lord and said, "O Lord, why have you brought harm to this people?" He's going to God. He doesn't understand. His initial response is actually very, very appropriate. I can't do this. I don't get it. What have you done, God? But the last thing he says is, why did you ever send me? God has already demonstrated to Moses, it's not about you, it's about me. I'm going to use you, and you're my chosen servant. But Moses, don't forget the staff of God that's in your hand. Don't you forget that I'm the one with the mighty hand who is going to work, and I'm going to put that power in your hand to be used. We do that. All of us do. But Moses is in danger here if he's not careful. Why did you ever send me? It's almost beginning to be focused on I again, which means he could become bitter. He says, ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he's done harm to this people, and you've not delivered your people at all. He's telling the truth. From his limited, finite perspective, it's not working. You ever felt that way? Yeah. He's crying to the right source. So as we wrap it up, look with me at chapter 6, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, now. You know what I mean? God has used the miracles in his words from Moses to Aaron to the people. They believed, they laid low, they humbled themselves and worshiped. Pharaoh's not seen any of them yet. It's almost like God says, roll my sleeve. I've got him right where I want him. This is where the timing is now. And I love that adverb that says, now the Lord said to Moses, my page is blue. Then the Lord said to Moses, now you shall see what that's God, not Pharaoh and not Moses. You, Moses, the you is singular there. It's not plural. Plural is going to come throughout the rest of chapter 6 in the days and weeks ahead as the people of God are going to see it. The Egyptians are going to see it. Pharaoh's going to see it. But God is addressing Moses. He says, now you, Moses, shall see what I will do to Pharaoh. For under compulsion, I shared this a couple weeks ago, literal translation of that is, by a strong hand. Whose strong hand? Moses? Pharaoh's, the people, the taskmasters, God's strong hand. He says, for under my strong hand, he, Pharaoh, will let them go. And under my strong hand, under compulsion, he himself will drive them out of this land. You know what God's saying? He's got this. I might not understand it. My timing might be all off. I don't like the circumstances. I sure don't feel like it's going well. But when that's happening, I need to be drawn back to my Savior. I need to look at him who gave himself for me. When I'm going through those difficult times, my focus can't be on me, myself, and I here and now. If it's on I, bitter. If it's on he, the, eternity, better. Growth, change, transformation. And how do I know it? Because God promises it. I didn't ask Grieg to read from 1 Peter this morning, but he laid the groundwork. I didn't screen Luke on what he was going to say today about things going well, and then they didn't. And then he got back with people, and they did refocus life on what really matters. But I did write this down, 1 Peter chapter 2. If you want to turn, you can. I'm just reading these in closing. But listen to what we have in the New Testament, where our focus needs to be in every day of life. Step by step, moment by moment, breath by breath, day by day, year by year. Chapter 2, verse 13, submit yourselves for the Lord's sake to every human institution, to a king who's in authority, or to governors as sent by him for the punishment of evildoers, praise of those who do right. For such is the will of God. Peter says this is God's will. We're always looking for God's will. Well, we have it right here in the facts. For such is the will of God, that by doing right, you may silence the ignorance of foolish men. He's going to describe what that looks like. Act as free men. Don't use your freedom as a covering for evil, but use it as surrender to God, bond slaves of God. Honor all people, love the brotherhood, fear, reverence, respect God. Hallowed be thy name, and honor the king. Verse 17, servants, that's all of us, workers, employees. Some of you are employers, some of you are bosses. It's all of us that gets directed there. He says, servants, be submissive to your masters with all respect, not only those who are good and gentle, but also to those who are unreasonable. That word unreasonable is where we get our word scoliosis. They're crooked. They're not shooting straight. They're wrong. They're evil. For this finds favor. If for the sake of conscience towards God, if your relationship with God is making a difference in everyday life, that conscience towards God, if it's because you want him to be glorified, you are willing to surrender and be humbled. You're willing for him to work even if it doesn't make sense. For the sake of conscience towards God, a person bears up under sorrows when suffering unjustly. God gets glory. It's his grace. For what credit is there if when you sin and are harshly treated, you endure it with patience? If you sin, you should get what you deserve. Consequences. Justice. But if when you do what is right and you suffer for it, patiently endure it, this finds favor with God. So here's the example he gives. For you've been called for this purpose, guys. Life's not fair. It's hard. There's ups and downs. But God is master. And he's not wasting any of it. And he can use even evil to bring good. So where should our focus be? For you have been called for this purpose, since Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example to follow in his steps, who committed no sin, no deceit found in his mouth. While Christ Jesus was being reviled, he didn't revile in return. He didn't get evil. He didn't strike back. While suffering, he uttered no threats. His speech, his conduct, and his conversation, what he said was glorious. It was holy. It was healthy. He uttered no threats, but what did he do? He kept entrusting himself to him who judges righteously. It goes back to faith. It goes back to trust. On whom or on what are you depending? Your ability to control things, to change things, to make it happen, or God? Are you believing that he's absolutely in control, that he's the creator, sustainer of this universe, and he's not backstroking, he's not too busy, he's not forgotten, he's intimately acquainted with all of our ways? So our focus must be on he, the Jesus, my Savior, who kept entrusting himself to him who judges righteously. In the midst of difficulty and hard times, we need to not run away from God and his people. Run to him and admit, I can't. I need you. Help me. Change me. Gather around brothers and sisters and open up and share and let them pray for you. Let them listen. Don't you dare, brothers and sisters, you nor me, tell them, do this. That's not the time to do it. It's the time to grab them and love them and listen and lean on them and laugh with them and together learn to focus on God in the midst of it. And I'm not saying it's easy. And I'm not saying, you say, well, how long do we do this? Till he takes us home. Till we go to be with him. You know what Peter also says? When the lost people around you, like Pharaoh back then, the Egyptians, when they see that, they'll be drawn to your God. It won't make sense. And God will be glorified. Challenging stuff that applies to everyday life. You say something like this and you say, okay, Mark, it sounds like, boy, the Christian life's always going to be hard. It ain't worth it. No. This is not just in the deep valleys. It's on the top, mountaintop experiences in our lives with our God and everywhere in between. It's a day by day, moment by moment walk with God. He's worthy. We need him, and he's brought us together as a body. We need each other.